When Armenia's foreign minister flew to Moscow last week on a diplomatic tour in search of a ceasefire in the war against neighboring Azerbaijan, enemy troops had advanced to just 65 kilometers from their prime target, a critical road that links his country with the disputed territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. By the time the ceasefire came into effect 5 days later, following talks in Washington, the picture was even more bleak. Azeri troops were just 30 kilometers from the winding mountain pass, and well within firing range. That rapid progress by Azerbaijani forces is just one of many reasons why the ceasefire, the third attempt at an internationally mediated truce since fighting broke out a month ago, collapsed after mere minutes in a salvo of artillery fire. Backed by far superior military equipment and an airborne fleet of Israeli and Turkish drones that has inflicted major damage on Armenian tanks, air defenses and heavy weapons, Azerbaijan's army has made significant gains over the past fortnight, seizing back land surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh previously occupied by Armenian forces. The Armenians have been caught flat-footed, said Jack Watling, research fellow at the Royal United Services Institute, a UK-based defence think tank. One side is deploying modern weaponry and the other is using weaponry from the 1970s and 1980s. The mountainous region of Nagorno-Karabakh lies inside Azerbaijan but is populated by ethnic Armenians and has been controlled by a Yerevan-backed administration since the 1994 war, which also saw Armenia seize roughly 7,000 square kilometers of Azeri territory to the south and west of the region. It is in the south, between Nagorno-Karabakh, the border with Iran and Armenian sovereign territory, where Azerbaijan has had the most success in recent weeks, advancing rapidly across the flat, sparsely populated region where its air superiority has been most effective. What we see is that there was a factor of invincibility that Armenia had tried to propagate over many years, but they relied too much on old military doctrine and thinking, tanks, heavy artillery and fortifications. It simply reminded us of the Second World War, Hikmet Hajiyev, foreign policy advisor to Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev, told the Financial Times. Instead, mobile forces, drone technology and a modern approach has been applied by us. While a lack of international observers and conflicting propaganda claims make tracking the front line difficult, video evidence of captured towns and villages shared by Baku and analysis by military experts suggest Azerbaijan has gained close to 1,500 square kilometers of territory previously controlled by Armenian forces. Yerevan on Tuesday claimed Azerbaijan was shelling its border. Yes, the enemy is successful in certain sectors and has approached the southern border of Armenia, but the situation is not critical, Armenia's defense ministry spokesperson Artsakh Hovhannisyan said on Monday. Fueled by billions of dollars in oil and gas sales, Azerbaijan's military spending over the past decade totaled $24 billion, according to data from the Stockholm International and Peace Research Institute. Armenia spent $4.7 billion in the same period. Before fighting broke out on September 27, Azerbaijan boasted twice as many military aircraft as Armenia, more than double the number of artillery launchers, and scores of armed drones. Armenia uses mainly Soviet-era air defense systems that are not integrated with modern radar to target drones. Azerbaijan was able to purchase weapons from Israel, Russia and Turkey to attain a substantial military edge, said Michael Kaufman, director of the Russia Studies program at CNA, a US-based national security research center. In general, what you see is Armenia fielding a sizable tank and artillery force that lacks the ability to defend itself from modern precision-guided weapons. Evidence presented by Azerbaijan, but disputed by Armenia, suggests that an Israeli Harop suicide drone destroyed one of Armenia's S-300 air missile batteries in late September. Azerbaijan has also relied heavily on armed TB2 drones sold by Baykar, a defense company owned by Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's son-in-law Selçuk Bayraktar and his family, to destroy scores of Armenian tanks. Having high-tech military equipment is not the same as using it properly, said Mr. Watling. Given the competence that they are now showing, it's obvious that they have received significant levels of advice from Turkey. Can Kasapoglu, Director of Security and Defense Studies at EDAM, an Istanbul-based think tank, said the tactics used by Azerbaijan clearly echoed those used by the Turkish military in its campaign against Syrian government forces in Idlib last February and March. Turkey has transferred not only weaponry but also concepts of operations, he said. Mr. Hajiyev said Turkey had provided extensive defense training but denied that Ankara was playing a direct role in the conflict. But despite the superior military equipment, most experts agree that future Azeri gains will be much harder to achieve as their forces head north towards the mountains and the crucial Lakan Pass, which connects Armenia to Nagorno-Karabakh. The rest of the region is mainly mountains covered with forests, which would require much more military investment to move forward to take over new territories, said Olesya Vartanyan, senior analyst at the International Crisis Group. One should also remember that winter is coming, which would make fighting even more difficult. Mr. Kaufman said Armenia considered much of the lost territory to be buffer space and is focused on maintaining control of Lakan. All three ceasefire agreements, to exchange prisoners and the bodies of those killed, have fallen apart almost immediately, with both sides blaming the other for a failure to adhere to the terms. Turkey has criticized efforts by Russia, the US and France to broker peace talks. In terms of diplomacy, I'm afraid we are still at a square one, similar to the situation on the first day of this war, said Ms. Vartanyan. We are left with the only option, when one or both sides feel exhausted with the fighting. Only then probably there can be a chance for diplomacy.